Episode 2, Abandoned at the Altar. The evening breeze carried the scent of suya and grilled corn across the rooftop restaurant of Danfo Bistro, one of Victoria Island's newest hotspots. 3 months had passed since that first meeting with Ola at Cafe Neo, and somehow we had fallen into a comfortable rhythm of weekly meetings. Each Saturday, we would choose a different location, sometimes upscale restaurants in Lekki, other times local bukas in Yaba where the amala was served straight from earthen pots. Tonight was different. Tonight I had news to share. I watched Ola as he settled into his seat across from me, his casual Friday outfit, a far cry from the sharp suits he wore during our university days. Time in Canada had changed him in subtle ways. The slight accent that crept into his English, the way he now preferred his jollof without Scotch bonnets, the ease with which he discussed therapy and mental health. "You're staring, Sarah," he said, that familiar half smile playing on his lips. "Should I be worried?" I took a sip of my Chapman, letting the sweet mixture of Fanta and Sprite with its hint of Angostura bitters steady my nerves. "I've been offered a position," I said finally. "Regional Director for West Africa, but it's based in Ghana." The words hung between us like the fairy lights strung across the rooftop. In the distance, Lagos traffic created its usual symphony of horns and engines, a soundtrack to our city's perpetual motion. Ola's expression shifted, something flickering behind his eyes before he masked it with a smile. "Sarah, that's incredible." His voice carried genuine joy, but there was something else there too, a note of uncertainty, perhaps loss. "When do they need your answer?" "By the end of next week." I traced the condensation on my glass, forming patterns that reminded me of the tears I'd shed 5 years ago. "It's a big step. You've earned it," he said softly. "After everything, after what I..." He paused, collecting himself. "You deserve every success." The waiter arrived with our orders. Grilled fish for me, gold pepper soup for him. We fell into a comfortable silence as we ate, both lost in thoughts of what this news might mean for our carefully reconstructed friendship. Over the past 3 months, we'd done the hard work of rebuilding trust. It wasn't easy. Some days, the weight of our past felt suffocating. Other days, glimpses of our old connection would shine through, making me wonder if some bonds truly could survive anything. We shared stories of the years we'd missed, my promotion to senior manager, his struggles and eventual triumph in establishing himself in Toronto, the lessons we both learned about love, family, and standing our ground. "Do you remember?" Ola began, setting down his spoon. "That time in final year when you were offered that internship in Port Harcourt." I nodded, remembering the excitement of that first big opportunity and how quickly I turned it down because it would have meant 3 months away from him. "I was young and foolish then." "No," he said, his voice firm. "You were brave enough to know what you wanted. I was the foolish one, letting fear and family expectations dictate my choices." He reached across the table, his hand stopping just short of mine. "Don't make decisions based on whatever this is between us now." The honesty in his words touched something deep within me. 5 years ago, when his absence had nearly broken me, now his support was helping me stand stronger. "I already accepted the position," I said quietly. "I start in 2 months." His face registered surprise, then understanding, then something that looked almost like pride. "Of course you did. You've always known your worth, Sarah, even when I forgot mine." The conversation shifted then, flowing into practical matters. The logistics of moving, the challenges of managing teams across different countries, the excitement of a new beginning. But underneath it all ran a current of unspoken questions. What would this mean for us? Could our newly rebuilt connection survive the distance? As the night wore on, the rooftop grew quieter. The fairy lights seemed to glow brighter against the darkening sky, and the Lagos skyline sparkled like scattered diamonds. A live band had started playing, their rendition of Asa's Bibanke floating softly through the air. Dance with me? Ola asked suddenly, standing and extending his hand. 5 years ago, this simple gesture would have made my heart race with joy. Now, it made it ache with the complexity of everything we'd become to each other. But I took his hand anyway, letting him lead me to the small space where other couples swayed to the music. As we danced, I couldn't help but remember our first dance together at his cousin's wedding. How young and certain we'd been then. Now, we moved with the careful awareness of people who knew both the pain of loss and the value of second chances. I'm proud of you, Sarah, he whispered, his voice barely audible above the music. I know I lost the right to say that years ago, but I am. You've become everything I always knew you could be. Tears pricked at my eyes, but these weren't the bitter tears of abandonment I'd shed years ago. These were different tears of recognition, of growth, of acceptance. Thank you, I said, meaning it for more than just his words. Thank you for coming back, for explaining, for helping me close that chapter properly so I could begin this new one. As the song ended, we returned to our table. The waiter brought us 2 small glasses of zobo, a complimentary end to our meal. The deep red liquid reminded me of all the Nigerian traditions I would miss in Ghana. The familiar taste, the understood cultural nuances, the comfort of home. Ghana isn't so far, Ola said, reading my thoughts as he often could. And they have good kelewele. I laughed, grateful for his attempt to lighten the moment. Are you planning to visit then? If you'll let me, he replied, his tone careful, measured. We could explore Accra together, as friends. Friends. The word felt right, somehow. Not the passionate love of our youth, nor the painful void of our separation, but something new, something built on understanding, forgiveness, and mutual respect. I'd like that, I said, raising my glass of zobo. 2 new beginnings? He clinked his glass against mine, his eyes holding promises of a different kind than they had 5 years ago. 2 new beginnings. And to you, Sarah, always to you. As we sat there, watching the Lagos lights twinkle below us, I realized that sometimes life's greatest gifts come disguised as its deepest wounds. 5 years ago, I thought love meant holding on at all costs. Now I understood that sometimes it meant having the courage to let go, to forgive, to grow, and to choose yourself. The breeze picked up, carrying with it the distant sound of a Danfo bus horn and the endless possibilities of tomorrow. I was ready for Ghana, ready for this new chapter. And somehow, knowing that Ola would be cheering me on from the sidelines made it all feel right. Thank you for watching the best African folk tales today. Stay around for episode 3.